Good morning. Good morning. My name is Sean Shapiro, and this is Ask a Traffic Cop, where you get to ask me, the traffic cop, questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. Do I have answers to everything? No. Do I do my best? Absolutely. And if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you I don't know it. If you're new to the channel and you don't currently follow us, please consider following us, regardless of the platform that you're watching us on. You know what? It'll make sure that you get notified when we go live next time. And you'll get to see more of our great content. And I'm biased when I say that, but I think we have great content. I want to start off by mentioning the Vision Zero enforcement team. I've not talked about them on a regular basis, so they deserve some attention. They are a dedicated group of officers that focus on changing driver behavior one ticket at a time. They do that in different areas of the city. They're led by intelligence information provided by analysts, and they literally give tickets out all day. For people who are choosing to break the law, of course, but nevertheless, people don't like when they get tickets, and they give a lot of tickets, so they're making friends or not. They go out and they look for people who are choosing to participate in the Big Four. That's driver behavior that comes in the form of speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. They're putting lives at risk. We know that all of those behaviors lead to serious injury and death on our roads, and we're not interested in that anymore. We've lost too many lives on Toronto streets this year, and if you start adding up years before, way too many lives that have been lost because people make bad decisions. Not just oopsie-doos, but they actually choose to engage in dangerous behavior. Well, Vision Zero enforcement team, they work at changing that by giving you a nasty ticket. And hopefully it makes, gives you the opportunity to change your ways. Jacob says, good morning, Sean. Just posted about your show on Twitter. Always happy to show the love and support. Well, thank you, Jacob. Jacob, I met Jacob at one of our events a while back, and he's been a very loyal follower and tweeter and retweeter and commenter. So thank you, Jacob. To answer your question about Centennial College, it was amazing. Different campus every day. We went to Progress, Morningside. I was at the, was it the Arts Progress? Oh, I'm missing one. I am missing one. Which is the one that I'm missing? Anyway, I went to all of them. Went to 5 locations. Last one was Downsview. And yeah, every day was awesome. If you're watching and you're a Centennial student and I met you, it was nice meeting you. If I didn't meet you, I'm sorry that our paths didn't cross. I got a lot of messages from people who said, come to this campus, come to my school. Well, I can't go everywhere. But I hope that we do get to meet more people and get out of the office more. It's fun. But I neglected people on this platform. And actually TikTok got to see me, but everybody on Instagram and on YouTube and Facebook, they didn't get to see it. They didn't get to see it. So let's see here. We got questions from Tanvir. Says, hey, Sean, please answer question. I need help. I was driving yesterday and the sun was pointing towards me and the guy in front of me did not have working brake lights. And since his brake lights weren't working, I couldn't tell that he was stopping and I hit him. Well, if he didn't have functioning brake lights, he may be eligible for a ticket, but at the end of the day, you still drove into them. And that would still be fault on your end. You have to be paying attention and give yourself sufficient room to react. So if you couldn't see, if you were truly blinded by the light, it sounds like a song, then giving yourself more reactionary space would be necessary. So I can't say that you're not at fault, but you may have shared fault if you can prove that their brake lights weren't working. Q says, why is TikTok pixelated? TikTok, am I pixelated on TikTok? I don't know. Everything looks like it's working here. And Tanver, it says they have dash cam footage supporting that brake light's not working. That may change things to some degree. Certainly, I'd contact police and make a report and submit that video. So hopefully that helps you out. Let's see here. Chase, welcome back, buddy. Chase is with a hello. Oh, I neglected to tell everybody how they can ask questions. There's a number of ways to ask questions. You can get me on the Q&A functionality here on TikTok. You can get me on Instagram Live. They also have the Q&A. That's that question mark in the bubble. But ask questions using Q&A. That'll get us into the Q&A section. Is this a new button? What does this button do? Oh, it's just a new icon for commenting, but I don't need to do that. But you can also get us on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook. All those places will allow you to comment, and I'll see it. It comes into one place. Kyle Hawking, hey, how you doing? There is a a single place where it all comes into. Now, if you're watching on Twitter, I apologize in advance. I don't get to see your questions. I don't know why there's no love for Twitter, but it doesn't work right now. It used to work. It's broken since, what was it called? Periscope stopped being supported. But if you go on to into the bio, there's a link tree, and you can go to all the social media platforms, pick your favorite one, and you can join into the conversations. Of course, there's also a button there on the link tree that says join us on Volley. Volley is a space where you can send video, voice, or text. And Jace just sent a message saying, how are you doing this morning, Mr. Shapiro? I am doing fantastic. I'm here. I'm rocking new glasses. And yeah, it's nice to be back. So let's get into some questions in Q&A and just answer Q's questions. We did do VZET, but thank you for the reminder. What do you mean? Q says Twitter Periscope works via email or via mobile. Well, Periscope is no longer Periscope. It's been rebranded as Twitter Live, but it doesn't work with Restream, which is why I always warn people they can't send messages. Okay, let's see here. If someone brake checks me, do I speed up or stop? Well, that's not a good version of response. If someone brakes checks you, which could be criminal, at very least careless, if someone hits the brakes to purposefully cause you to respond for no other reason than to be, well, I was going to say a lot of things that are not, a PG. So, yeah, you avoid hitting them because while you may not be at fault in a brake check situation, if you can prove it, at the end of the day, you want to avoid a collision. So give yourself enough room to respond to these people who don't know how to drive or are choosing to drive in a way that is criminal. Now, I saw Chase. I started responding about Chase, and then I didn't actually read what the question was. So the question was, should a G1 driver ask to see the license of their drive test examiner, I made up a new word, examiner, to ensure they have 4 years? I think that they're probably okay. But would it be wrong to? It may be in the eyes of the person or testing you, but technically speaking, you're not wrong to say, are you a qualified person to supervise me? Interesting. Maybe not a good idea, but interesting. So Kyle popped in and said, can you explain why there's a need for a collision reconstruction and investigation after a collision? Why does it take so long? Why can't roads simply be cleared and reopened? Kyle comes in with a really good question. So something that you may not be aware of, that in minor collisions, we do a lot of the collision investigator, someone like me, would go out and measure the point of impact, debris fields, basic information that we need to establish what happened. But when we have a loss of life or significant injury that may result in loss of life, we get reconstructionists to come in and they map out everything, because there's just more at stake when you're dealing with someone with a loss of life. It's not just an approximation. Everything needs to be exact. I want to say it's a more scientific approach. It takes hours and hours, and also major collisions, especially if you're dealing with hazardous materials, things that may be leaching into the environment. It's more than just recording the incident. It's now getting other people involved to protect the environment. And those things may take a long time. So why do collision investigations that are more detailed take a long time? It's because there's just so much more going on. And it is an inconvenience to everyone around. But Kyle makes a good point. It brings up a really good topic that many don't understand. Like we had recently a fatality where a pedestrian was struck multiple times. Well, these things just, it's such more. Why can't I speak today? It's a so much more sensitive topic. It's not something that can be just quickly, a few photos and move on. We're dealing with lives. So now the investigations we're talking about after all the photos are done, the total station measurements of everything, or in some cases drone coverage and three-dimensional renderings. When that's all done, all the information is captured. It takes that team or the individuals on the team, I think, a year to complete a document, like a 100-page report. So it's serious. Now, I am not a collision reconstructionist, but I think that your question suggests I should have one on the show, at very least the podcast. Cool. I've gone down the rabbit hole, and it's a topic that nobody really cares about except Kyle and I. So we'll get back to some other stuff. Oh, my buddy Joey coming in by LinkedIn says, "Can't you do anything to improve driving in Nashville?" He's no longer in Toronto, but I'm afraid I have no influence on Nashville traffic. But it's good to hear from you. Chase says, "Tweet about the Twitter issue." Oh, you know what? Twitter's been very interesting recently. I don't know what's going on or what the end of the day, what the whole change up in management will bring. But it's certainly interesting to watch. And Jace approves from my glasses. Thanks, Jace. What is this? Oh, Jacob's bringing me a dad joke. Why did they arrest the cap? It was covering for the marker. It's a groaner, but it's all right. Okay. If a driver is sober but the passenger in the vehicle is drinking, who gets the ticket? Well, I think you're possibly looking at both. I don't know. I've never laid the charge in that situation. You can't drink in a motor vehicle, but if you are driving while drinking is taking place, I think you have two different charges at play. It's a good question. But you can't have open alcohol in the vehicle, and you can't drive with alcohol that's open in the vehicle. So there's different things to different people. It might result in multiple charges. I've never really gone down that rabbit hole before. All right. Steven says, "Hi, good morning. Good morning to you. Can you drive when you have CBD oils in your system?" CBD oils, if they do not have any THC, aren't an issue. People take that for medicinal purposes. However, if you have THC in your system, there is, there is impairment that is involved with THC. So you can't drive when you're under the influence. Why can't CAA tow police infraction vehicles? Depends what we're talking about here. What is a police infraction vehicle? So CAA, if you're involved in a collision, you can request to have a tow company come, as long as you're not interfering with traffic and it's a place that you can afford to wait. So if you're not blocking the road, if you're not causing an issue, then you can, in fact, have CAA come. If the vehicle's being impounded, where you were stunt driving, well, we're impounding it. It has to go to a police secure pound that's under contract, and it's not something that we're going to wait for CAA to do for us. They don't have access to the secure pounds because CAA deals with, I guess, they're their own towing company. So yeah, we call a police contract tow, put it to the police contract pound, and then you get to wait 14 days until it's released. So I hope that's what you were going for or what you were getting at. But if it wasn't, ask me in a different way. Someone wants to know, is it XK wants to know, how old does a car have to be imported from Japan? 15 years is my understanding. Okay. Okay, we got Steven here. I want to get through some of the questions on the TikTok, because TikTok's been suffering. I've been looking at YouTube and all the other places and ignoring you. All right. Can you have a dog in the front seat? Can you? Yeah, legally in the front seat, as long as it's not interfering with the driver. Can't be on your lap, can't be in your way. But if you're talking about what's safest for the dog, it's going to be back seat, crated or tethered. If you're going to be in the front seat, tethered or crated as well. But know that airbags come out at about 200 miles per hour, and they kill dogs. They can even kill smaller humans, which is why we say 14-year-old, you stay in the back seat until you're 14 years old, regardless of how big you are. Am I allowed to drive a car with a dealer plate? I don't know if you're allowed to drive a car with a dealer plate. Are you a dealer? Are you test driving a vehicle? Are you misusing a dealer plate for your personal purposes? It really depends. It's too broad a question. Need more information. Hey, if you're new to the channel, you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. You know, we're that police service that handles Toronto. Yeah, that's what they call it, Toronto Police. I work for traffic safety programs at Traffic Services, and I answer traffic and police questions Monday to Friday from 10 to 11. If you've got questions, I got answers, ask them here. And if you don't follow us, please do. Are stance cars illegal? If not, they should be. They are illegal. Stance cars we're talking about severely dropped cars. They're just too low. Additionally, it speaks to camber. Camber, when it's extreme, is illegal. Minor, very minor camber might be permissible, but as you continue to increase the camber on a wheel, you're changing the road contact patch, how much tire is actually touching the ground. Additionally, it's also changing the area of the tire that's making contact, and it's usually running on a sidewall, which is going to make the vehicle unsafe because that tire is going to blow out. You get very limited mileage when you're improperly using the whatchamacallit, the tires. They're designed to be used one way and one way only. Q says, boop the snoop. What does that mean? It means if you are watching, please hit the screen until your fingers go numb. It helps the algorithm know that you like what you're seeing. We've got about 2.7 thousand likes right now in the live, and it doesn't really change anything except, I guess, helps market to other people. And if you don't follow us, please do. We don't make money based on followers, but we do get to share the information we provide with more people, so we appreciate it. Will stunt driving affect police academy application? Yeah, any driving issues are going to affect your ability to become a police officer, because if you don't respect the laws that you're going to be expected to enforce, that's a key indicator that you should not be a police officer. At very least, that's what the interpretation of the recruiting department is going to be. Because if you, again, now if it's dated, if it happened a long, long time ago and you've had a clean record since and you learned your lesson, you might be able to make an argument that it's a new world and you're a new person. But if it's recent, good luck. Is the new chief for TPS going to be on the show in the future? Jacob wants to know. I don't know the answer to that. I hope so. Obviously, we would welcome our new chief and any subsequent chief. Not that he's going anywhere. I'm sure he'll be here for a long, long time. But yeah, we're always here for our bosses. We hope he comes out. Absolutely. My brother is a dealer. Can I drive his car? So the rules are that the vehicle has to be it's part of a fleet if he's a dealer. If you're test driving the vehicle, they're permitted, if they're taking it out for sales purposes. I don't think he can lend it to you other than for a short drive. Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of that. I mean, I've driven obviously cars on a dealership lot. I've been given a dealership lot vehicle to try overnight in the past. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but using it as a daily driver might become an issue. I don't know. He should know. Okay. Q says, boop the snoop and share the knowledge. That's late. I'm late putting that up on the screen. Okay. What is this? Okay. Jay says that YYZ Traffic PC mentioned on a TikTok that you only get one shot on scene to get all your information as well. I wonder what this pixelated business with TikTok. Is it still pixelated? Why would it be pixelated? That must be a new issue with maybe I have to upgrade. Maybe there's a new update. I don't know. And Jay says that dealer plates are legal for anyone to use as long as the vehicle is listed for sale and available. It can't be something personal or personal use only. It has to be in the available inventory for sale. Birthday shout out to Tyler. Happy birthday, Tyler. Ryan Pinn, coming in from Nova Scotia, says, good morning. Has everyone booked their appointments to get their tires changed? If you've got winters, this might be the time to do it. 7 degrees. What's the weather outside? 7 degrees on average. That's when it's hovering there. We had like a 21 on the weekend in Toronto. But if it's sitting at 7 degrees, that's the time to start thinking about changing your tires. And guess what? The lineups are just going to become an issue. Everyone's going to want to do it. It's 6 degrees outside in Toronto right now, according to my Apple Watch. It must be accurate because it's an Apple product. Just saying. Aftermarket mufflers, are they legal or not? Well, the answer is it depends, and it depends on what you're buying and what you're putting on. Just because it's aftermarket doesn't mean it's legal or illegal. So it depends on if you're putting on something that it meets the requirements under the law. If it doesn't, obviously it's an issue. Mufflers must muffle sound. If it's a muffler that sounds like a tin can that echoes, chances are it's not street legal, or at very least isn't doing what it's supposed to do, and you're going to get a ticket. What is the process for becoming a police officer? Well, in Ontario, and it's going to be different everywhere, but in Ontario, you have to be able to meet or exceed the requirements of both physical, academic, mental, and health. I say physical and health separately because the doctor's got to sign off on you. There's a vision requirement. You need to be able to pass written tests. that include math, English, and all sorts of things. And you do that when you go through the OACP process, the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police process. And when you have your certificate, you can then apply to a police service to be considered for the job. You have to apply. You may or may not. Actually, if you have the certificate, I think you only have to do an interview. Once you've gone through the interview, if you're selected, you go through a psychological assessment. And then you'd be a cadet in training if you get a conditional offer to go off to the police college to do your pre and post Elmer, as well as doing the actual Elmer itself. And that's it. That's the story. If you're successful there, you would have your certificate from Elmer's Ontario Police College, and then you would come back and do 10 weeks of training. At least that's what would happen in Toronto. 10 weeks of officer ride-along, where you're being directly monitored and coached, and then it continues to a lifetime of learning. What do motorcycle and bicycle cops use in the winter? Very often, bicycle cops go out all year round. Motorcycle cops drive cars in the winter. Ryan JD, is it? Says, do you have to use turn signals if you're in a dedicated turning lane? Yeah, you do. You have to indicate regardless of what lane you're in. An off-ramp is different than a turning lane, though. Off-ramps, you don't need to signal. You need to signal when you're changing lanes. But while you're actually turning in an off-ramp, it's just a ramp. To enter the ramp, you may have to signal if you're changing lanes to get into it. Will filtering lanes in Ontario ever become legal? I don't know. It was proposed a number of years ago. It was not actioned. It remains something that could result in being charged, at least under the current law. But it may become legal in the future because people want to make the change. Is it a safe thing? Do I endorse it? No, I don't think it's. Now, filtering is what we're talking about. That's where you're driving between lanes of traffic. It's careless or dangerous driving at the moment. And if you're talking about, that's lane splitting. Lane filtering, when you simply move up in a stopped traffic, less of an issue, but still high risk and not endorsed. What is the charge for driving without any driver's license? It's called driving without a driver's license. I think it's $350 and a bunch of cash. I think. No points because you don't have a driver's license, but it's I believe $350. Good morning to Leo wife, my wife, who's watching on YouTube. Hello. It must be a quiet house. The kids are back to school. Will you get a ticket for an honest mistake? It really depends on what the honest mistake was. Like, were you honest? Was it an honest mistake when you did 30 kilometers over the posted limit? No, you're not getting a warning. You're getting a ticket. Was it an honest mistake to make a turn because you didn't see a sign? It depends. It's the officer discretion. You're eligible for the ticket. You deserve the ticket. If they give you a break on the ticket, that's up to them. And Frost confirms, I started talking about, I was talking about lane filtering, but then I started talking about lane splitting, not making the differentiation. So, the two different things. So filtering is when you come up to a stoplight and you're pushing forward. I have less of a concern for it, but it's still illegal at the moment. What do we have here? How's driving with no insurance? How's driving with no insurance is worse than no driver's license? Well, you're not insured when you have no license, so you're driving with no insurance as well. The vehicle might be insured, but the vehicle is not going to be covered if an unlicensed driver is driving it. They're going to deny your claim. You're not licensed. So insurance covers the liability of insurance on a vehicle, covers the people you hurt. So that's going to be covered regardless. But insurance is huge. It's a huge problem. If you're driving with no insurance, that means you hit someone, there is no coverage at all. That's a big problem. I think you're getting at why is driving with no insurance worse than no driver's license? But the structure of that question has me questioning what you were actually asking me. What's the fine for using speed trap detectors? $170, 2 demerit points. Under the Highway Traffic Act, we have search and seizure authority, which means if we believe you have one, we can take your car apart to find it. And we don't have to put the car back. That's up to you. Is it illegal to drift in snow in a lot? Yes, drifting is against the law regardless of where you are in the province of Ontario, parking lot or otherwise. Other than zero BAC, zero alcohol in your blood, what are the limitations for a G2? Well, for the first 6 months of having a G2, you can have no more than one passenger under the age of 20 in your vehicle after 12 o'clock and before 5 a.m. So between 12 and 5 a.m., unless they're family, you can't have anyone in your vehicle. So you can only have one person in your vehicle under the age of 20. In the first 6 months, that's that. Second 6 months, you can have up to 3 people between or under the age of 20, not family members, in your vehicle between 12 and 5 a.m. And once you've been doing it for a year, the restriction's gone. But it's good to know. That's the only other restriction that I'm aware of. Okay. Do all school buses in the GTA have cameras? I don't know if all of them have it. I believe it's all being worked into the program now. Zachary wants to know if we have roadside tests for marijuana. We do. We also have officers who are trained in the ability to detect, it's called sobriety testing. We do roadside sobriety testing. We also have drug recognition experts that if we believed you were under the influence of drugs, we could have you perform tests in front of them. Can I remove the sticker on my plate if I've renewed it? Yes, you can. In Ontario, we no longer issue plate stickers for most vehicles, so you can remove them if you've renewed. Ryan says, or asks, or states, or I'm about to read it, we'll all find out. I had a student tell me that a PC reached in and pulled a mounted radar detector right off the dash of their aunt's car. I said, yeah, they can do that. Search and seizure. And that was in plain sight. Tyler would like me to erase the warrants that they have that are out for them. Tyler, I'd suggest contacting a lawyer and having them make arrangements for you to turn yourself in if you have warrants. Abdo says, pedestrian not following the traffic signs any. Again, the limitation of text here make it confusing. I don't exactly know what you're asking me, but I actually don't know what you're asking me. Are electric vehicles allowed in the HOV with only one passenger? If you have a green-plated vehicle, EV qualifies for green plates, but you have to actually have the green plate affixed to the vehicle, then yes, you can actually use the green-plated access, gives you access to the HOV lanes, and you can be solo in that vehicle, which is like the whole motivation to get that vehicle. That's what would make me want to buy one. Technology is advancing to have detector apps. Okay. Detector apps. Right now, my iPhone will not detect radar or laser. They just don't. They may have a device that's installed that will report to a phone. That's different. That would still be illegal. And if you're talking about things like Waze, that, it's a social app, and people report there what's going on, well, that's different. That's not a radar. That's not radar detection. I should also mention that in the question of radar detectors, you can also not have jammers. Paul Toronto says, "Good morning, officer. What are the loopholes in drunk driving cases?" The loophole is if you don't drink and drive, you won't have any charges. It's when you break the law that we arrest people. I don't know what loopholes you want to know about. Hey, Ryan Pinn supporting biggest loophole is don't drink and drive. That's the way to go. Is my sleigh and reindeer road legal? Santa Claus wants to know. Well, hey, Santa, thanks for dropping in the live. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to know that you follow us. Well, wait, I hope you follow us. In any case, sleigh and reindeer, yeah, it is road legal. You have to have sleigh bells. You have to have appropriate sleigh bells. But otherwise, absolutely. Of course, you have to have snow on the ground, otherwise you'll damage the road. But I'm sure that a flying sleigh won't be that issue. I hope we get to talk again closer to Christmas, Santa. Let's see here. Manster has some interesting comments I won't read. Can we talk tolls on highways and rates? Tequila wants to know. I don't know any of the rates. I pay what they send me a bill for when I use the 407. What other tolls and highways are we talking about? And what would you like to talk about specifically? Okay. I see too many people making U-turns at traffic lights. If it's green and not signed otherwise, it's not illegal. It is higher risk than making turns elsewhere, but it's not against the law. Unless it's signed otherwise, or it's in a number of locations like, in front of a bridge, viaduct, tunnel, railway crossing, then there's specific, issues with it. Oh, Chase left a voice volley. Let's see what Chase is saying here. Let me get my microphone set up for Chase's voice volley. Get my second microphone up.
So I just moved recently, and it's been about a month and a half, and I still haven't got my new license in the mail. So at what point will the police give me trouble and say, like, this is your old license, you should be using your new one? Do they have any way of knowing if I got it? Because it's still in the mail, so I still have to present my old one. I mean, is that going to get me in any trouble?
So to answer your question, you update your address online, you get a printed receipt. Bring that with you. That's your making it your valid combination. So the update's gone online already, and you're just waiting for your card. And no, they can't verify whether or not you've received your new card, but the combination of your receipt and the fact that I think the whole world is behind and taking longer to do things that used to be fairly efficient. Yeah. Could you get into a situation, if you've been waiting a significant amount of time, I'd suggest reaching out to the MTO and at very least making inquiries as to where the heck that thing is. All right. Lane change in front of a big rig. Is there a legal distance you have to allow? No, but I wish there would be one, because we see people who are making moves in front of large vehicles within 20 feet of the front of a big rig is basically invisible to the big rig, about 20 feet. So I would say that should be law, but it isn't. I'd love to see it change. In any case, to answer your question, not currently a law. If you're watching on TikTok or any platform, welcome. This is Ask a Traffic Cop. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service right here in Ontario, Canada. And I answer your traffic and police questions for an hour a day. It's now 10:32, which means we're halfway through the show. Maybe we'll go a few minutes extra because it's been a while. And tomorrow we'll be back doing it all again, but we'll do it for an hour and a half tomorrow. We'll start at 9:30, and we'll be live with Jerry Ager on News Talk 1010 because it's a Wednesday. We try and do that on Wednesdays, or at least every other Wednesday. Okay. Is pedestrian crossing mid-block illegal? This is always the question we get about, folks who are choosing to jaywalk. Well, jaywalking is not something that is a Canadian or Ontarian term. You can cross mid-block. It's incredibly high risk. It does put you at risk, and if you don't do it safely, you could end up becoming involved in a collision. There is a bylaw, however, if you are crossing close to a crosswalk, you're supposed to use a crosswalk. So within 50 meters, I believe, you can be charged if you're within 50 meters of a crosswalk and you don't use it. Tequila says, this is amazing. Thank you. Well, Tequila, you're very welcome. Paul Toronto says, do driving instructors teach new drivers how to read parking signs and rules? Ryan Pinn, do you teach people to use read parking signs and rules? I would hope that that's something that would just be done automatically as opposed to requiring teaching. But, I'm sure they deal with it to some degree. But we'll wait for Ryan to if he's still here, to weigh in. Chase has another audio question.
So I just want to confirm that anyone using Waze who wants to report construction or traffic or police, they have to pull off the road, go find legal parking to report that, and then get back on the road. I know no one does that, but is that what the law says?
So Chase brings up this concept of utilizing Waze to report issues on the road. Waze does a pretty good job automatically when you slow down to automatically report traffic. That said, if it's plugged into your car and it's big buttons in your car and you're not touching the phone, could you legally do it at that point? You could legally at that point interact with your built-in navigation system, which is communicating to Waze. Is it a good idea? No, it's still a distraction. If you're talking about picking up your phone to report it, at that point you are breaking the law. You are using your handheld communication device, and you could be subject to a charge of used handheld communication device. That comes with a $615 fine, 3 demerit points, and 3-day suspension on conviction. So, yeah, as Chase put in his question, very specifically pull over, find legal parking, and then you can utilize your phone, because stopped does not mean legal when it comes to cell phone use in a motor vehicle. We've got another statement from Santa. Sleigh license has expired. Where do I update it? I'm assuming your sleigh license comes direct from the North Pole. I don't think our jurisdictions cover it, but we could certainly put you in touch with the appropriate people if you DM us. Is speeding to the speed limit from a red light legal? It depends. Speeding would suggest you're going above the speed limit, but I think you mean accelerate up until and not over the speed limit, and that can be very dangerous, and you could be putting people at risk. It is not something that is listed as specifically illegal. However, the observations made by an officer might suggest that you are stunt driving, racing, or otherwise putting people at risk and could result in charges. Are dual sport motorcycles plated for the road allowed to ride on trails as well as under the same registration? I'm not an off-road person. I believe that plated dual sport vehicles can use trails, but I would check with the local authorities who deal with that. We don't have any off-road trails that I'm aware of in Toronto. I certainly don't deal with that, or have never dealt with that. Sergeant Campbell, who is not here today because he's out training people on traffic direction, he would be the right person to ask. So come back and ask that again, or throw it into the Q&A on our volley space, and we'll try and get you an answer. Stephen says, I smile when I see a cop because I'm safe. I'm glad that you feel that way. Most people do. Some people do not. And really, it's upsetting, because if you can't trust the police, if for some reason you believe that the police are not your friends and not here to protect you, that's a very sad place to be, because I don't know who you turn to when you need help. And that's what we're here for. We're people helping people. It's our goal. It's what I signed up for. It's what I do. It's why I do what I do every day. Okay. Is it illegal to drive home on a rim if tire blew? Yeah, it's unsafe. Pull over, get a tow. Driving on 3 tires is an unsafe vehicle. You'd be charged. Your license plates would be taken. You'd be appearing in court to explain that one. Okay. Why do doctors responsible for pedestrian illegal crossing? Abdu, I don't know what your question is. Is DR something else, not doctor? I don't know what your question is. Someone wants to know about Freedom Convoy. I don't get political here. Is stealing illegal? Because you stole my heart. That's funny. But yes, theft is illegal. All right. Why do you look like that? I'm lucky, I guess. We're in troll mode now, I see. Can I turn an off-road dirt bike street legal? Street legal, their VIN is off-road, so I don't think you can actually convert them. I'm just trying to get through a whole bunch of backlog of questions. Did you get into accident in a grocery store parking lot? Michelle, I don't know. There's no question there, Michelle. Can you get into a collision? What happens when you get into a collision in a grocery store parking lot? Is that where you're going with this? Give me more. I want to answer your question. Give me more. Do you have to pay for dirt bike plates? Off-road vehicles, I don't think. Do they have dirt bike plates? I don't know. A lot of dirt bike questions of which I cannot answer. Elves and I thank you from the North Pole, Mississauga. Well, Santa, thanks very much for coming by. And like I said, DM me. We can see about assisting you. We always assist Santa, especially Santa Claus Parade, which is coming up real soon. Holy moly, it really is coming up. So I look forward to spending time with Santa in the near future because there's a parade going to happen. I'm going to be there. And I haven't been invited officially, but I just plan on being there. Let's see here. What are the laws on busking? I believe you need a permit to busk, but this is not the busking channel. Sadly, I don't have a lot of information for you. I know TTC requires permits to be issued to busk on their property. I believe there's certain areas there's permits you can get, but the City of Toronto will be the ones issuing that. We got. Let's see here. We're gonna mute this chap because this person's spamming. Okay, what happens if accident on grocery store parking lot? Okay, so we'll come back to Michelle's question. The answer is, if you're involved in a motor vehicle collision, all the same requirements are there. If it's over $2,000 damage combined with all vehicles involved, you are obligated to report it to police, which could be if there's no injuries. And actually, if there's minor, if no one's being transported to hospital by ambulance, you could go to a reporting center. If there is, more at play, there's no insurance, no one's licensed, or there's issues of drug or criminality, well, that's going to require police to attend, and we'll do a collision report at scene. So call police when you're in a collision, and they'll direct you what to do based on the criteria that is there, and or what the information is that's there anyway. Chase is creating a new message, and they'll get you going. Now, I got to tell you that on private property, charges are generally not going to be late. If there's obviously no, if there's no, if the person is not, well, actually, I can't even do the no license thing. On private property, you don't have a requirement to have a license, so there's a limitation as to the charges. If someone fails to report or to take off, there's things that can be late, but it's limited. We still need to report. Colored tints on front windshield illegal. No tints can be on the front windshield at all whatsoever. None. Now, I say that, and then I walk it back by saying if your vehicle was manufactured before 2017, then you can have 3 inches or 75 millimeters, which is 3 inches, from the top of the window down to the PS1 line or 3 inches, whatever happens first. Chase says... Oh, okay, first, Ryan Pinn responds to the fact that Ryan does teach parking signs and rules at his driving school, but not everyone does, because he can't speak for all schools. And then Chase comes in with a question saying, if an officer really wanted to, could you be charged with screen visible and use handheld communication device at the same time? I think they'd have a problem in court. I think that, yeah, they could lay both charges, but that's not what's intended, and they're a duplication, so one would be thrown out, if not both. Who knows? It would just be double for the same thing. It doesn't make sense. Is it hard to direct traffic at an intersection? It depends on the intersection. I can tell you that sometimes, yes, sometimes you need multiple officers in an intersection to safely manage the traffic direction. So it takes a lot of practice. It's not for the faint of heart. Oh, drivers, not doctors. Why drivers responsible for pedestrian illegal crossing? They're not. If a pedestrian is not lawfully on the street and a vehicle hits them, and it's due to the pedestrian's actions, they're not going to be the pedestrian could be charged. I've charged lots of pedestrians for causing collisions. It depends on who causes the collision. If a pedestrian is crossing mid-block and they can do that safely, where it's not close to an intersection, they can do it safely. It's not a collision. Obviously, if they become involved in a collision, and it's not because of, and in some cases it is because of the driver's making a mistake or not driving properly. It depends. But if it's determined that a pedestrian is responsible, then they're responsible and they get charged. Is the clear paint protection film legal to put on the front window since it's not technically tinted? Also, scroll up and read my other volley. We're talking about lights. Okay, so clear paint protection film, if it's clear, it has to be color or reflective to be illegal on a window. If it is absolutely clear and doesn't obscure the driver's vision, then having clear tinted coverings on a window, it's clear. You wouldn't even know it's there. If it obscures your ability to see, then it would be an issue. Okay. And Jace wants to know about semis with 10,000 different amber lights. If they're projecting bright light, if they're just accent bulbs, marker lights, there's nothing wrong with them that I'm aware of. Can I drive with a ski mask in the winter? I'm not aware of a reason that you couldn't. What is the legal BAC for a G2 driver? 0. Zilch. Nada. No alcohol. Okay. Grace period for out-of-province plates. So if you're moving to Ontario, you have, I want to say, 60 days to apply for a Ontario plate. Jacob is requesting that I play the traffic song as the outro today. Absolutely. It's been a while since I've heard it. Is just stopping in a no parking zone ticketed? Hey, Aaron, is just stopping in a no parking zone ticketed?
Yes. Just stop it. Wait, sorry. What?
Is just stopping in a no parking zone?
If they're loading.
Active loading or unloading is permitted. Dropping off passengers is permitted.
Yeah, you can do that in a parking zone.
But
Park there.
yeah, you can't park there. But you can stop there to let people out or load or unload. Is there a period of time that you can be there?
For no parking?
Yeah.
If you're actively loading and unloading or on delivery.
Or on delivery on a side street, not a main street. So there's a bunch of different things at play. But like I always wondered, you pull up and you're loading or unloading, but you have to go inside to load. That's a delivery at that point. You went from unloading to now delivery, and you need to have a sign if you're doing that. So if you're delivering, there are no psychic that I'm aware of, psychic parking enforcement or police officers. Not enough caffeine in the world. There you go. So that's the answer for you here. Here wanted to know. I had Santa Claus came by and said hello. Santa Claus. Is it TikTok Santa or Santa Santa? I don't know. I take him. I took Santa at his name.
There's a verified TikTok Santa Claus.
I don't. You know what? I don't know if that Santa was the Santa with whom I was conversing. Let me scroll back.
Checking to see who's on the naughty and nice list.
He might. This is serious business. I'm scrolling back here. Hold on, folks. I need to find the account that Santa Claus was from. Why can't I? How far back till I can see? Here we go. Santa Real Beard. Well, I don't think it's the Santa that you're thinking of, but I followed that Santa anyway. I have since so this is Santa in Mississauga. Mississauga Santa. Okay. Can I bike on the sidewalk with epilepsy with no lane? Sadly, there's no exemption for epilepsy that I'm aware of. It is based on age in the city of Toronto. If you're 14 years, you may not be on the sidewalk. If you're 13 years old, you may. Ryan Pinn adds that technically the North Pole is in Canada. Does that make Santa Canadian? I don't know. What do you think? Maybe he's just a resident. He could be a permanent resident of the North Pole. Okay. Paramedic here. What happens on the What happens on the cop side of the motor vehicle collision? Well, that's a big question. So it depends. Every situation is going to be different because if we get there first and there's first aid that needs to be done, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be communicating to our partners to get help fast and what kind of help we need. If it's minor in nature, we get to a scene and we'll start exchanging information or intervening and ensuring that information is both exchanged and recorded. And then we're going to be taking, we're going to look at physical evidence, and we're going to be looking at witness statements and witnesses and possible video. But essentially, we're there to record all the information, everything that we can glean from what happened, to then paint a picture as to, on paper, as to what happened, because that goes to insurance and so on. So it really depends. I don't know. If we were evaluating a specific collision, I could give you sort of what I would do. But at the end of the day, it changes each and every time we go. We're controlling traffic. We're arresting those that need to be arrested. There's so much. Okay. What are your thoughts on firefighters and paramedics? Magical people, partners in what we do. We're all people helping people. It's what we do. We go to scenes. We work together to get things done. Firefighters do amazing things. Paramedics equally. I'm glad they're here because I don't do those things. So we work together as part of a team. Different uniforms, but same team. We got what do we got here? We've got, someone's a fan. They've created a fan account with no followers endorsing silliness. Okay. Oh, that's bad. I meant to take a screen grab so I can have their device blocked. People do silly things. Confirm. Okay. Glow-in-the-dark valve caps, are they legal? I'm not aware of anything wrong with glow-in-the-dark. Projector or LEDs could be an issue. But just having them glow, I don't think you got a problem there. Are there limits on to how much you can lift a vehicle? Yes. Not only can you be, I believe it's a 3-inch lift kit is the maximum, but when you get into the question of, or the discussion of clearance from ground, yeah, there's a problem. You can actually, there is a maximum headlight clearance, center of headlights to the ground, that would prevent it from being safetied, so that would make your vehicle unsafe. There's a lot of ifs and maybes and depends, so I don't have a good answer for you. But we're told 3 inches lift kit is the maximum for the body lift kit. Beyond that, I do not know. Seen customer hoarder car. Continuing on the 4x4, you have to have mud guards and fender flares to cover the tires. If they're protruding more than a quarter inch, from what I understand, you're on the block. That you could end up being charged additionally for the mud flaps. So Jake here says, seen customer hoarder cars, garbage piled up to seat tops, drives side okay, illegal or unsafe. So if you have stuff inside the car that would pose a risk to you if you were in a collision, insecure load, even though it's inside the vehicle, that could be an issue. Depends on what we're seeing, but yeah, I'd have an issue with that. We see collisions internally inside the cabin of the vehicle cause death. So I'd clearly, I'd look at that as an unsafe vehicle. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. No, I don't want to do that. Ryan Pinn says that he cannot lift a vehicle off the ground. Okay. I think we covered this one already. Yeah, we did. Oh, new ones have come in. Does Erin also get paid as media relations for her TikTok as part of her job, or does she do it just for fun? She is an approved official media relations officer for the Toronto Police Service in the realm of parking enforcement. It is an official account, so she I'm sure does it for fun too, but she doesn't get paid outside of her salary. Whatever you just did, fix the pixelation on TikTok. Weird. So the whole thing was pixelated, and then I like turned my phone off and on accidentally when trying to take a picture of the screen, and it fixed it. Well, I'm glad it fixed it, but we don't know why it was broken in the first place. Okay. So here's a funny thing, and this user created a new account. Oh, I did it again. And what you need to know is that when you do this stuff, it's more than just blocking the account, but they'll find out when they have to buy a new phone. You actually get banned. Your IP address, your actual phone ID gets banned. Yeah, not good. Okay. Confirm. Okay. Can you get a ticket for eating while driving? This is a good question. And it depends on where you are. In some provinces, yes. In some states, yes. In Ontario, you can get a ticket for careless driving if your eating is interfering with your ability to drive safely. So it depends. Nobody likes when I say depends, apparently. Jacob says, adrenaline is crazy. It's what gives people the ability to lift cars when their child is underneath. Fight or flight. Yes, adrenaline is amazing. Oh my goodness. I do appreciate the insistence on spamming. Well, we're closing down anyway. I'll just ignore you. Okay. Do truck signs apply to all truck sizes? Well, no. They're talking about F-150. I think they're talking about commercial trucks, large vehicles. But trucks are trucks. So it's a good question. I'm giving you I don't believe that it's dealing with anything under. I think when they say trucks, they're talking about CMV, commercial vehicles. What's this? Michelle says, thanks for this. I really appreciate the learning. Well, you're very welcome. It's what we're here for. It's what we do. We appreciate the appreciation. Okay. compression fittings on brake lines. I don't know. It's too mechanical for me. And penalty for illegal modifications on cars. Depends on what the modification is. We have mods that are legal. We have mods that are not. And each mod comes with its own situation. Certain mods will have your license plate pulled because you're no longer safe. Other mods will give you things like exhaust. If you have an improper exhaust, you put straight pipes, having no muffler. Each one of those comes with different fines and offenses. And they can all be stacked up together. Are we allowed to buy parking tickets from a different machine in a different zone? It's specific to the area that you're parking in. So if you park in one, I believe you'll be ticketed if you go to a different one. Garth says, cops forget that they are public servants and not a legal gang who is above the law. Garth, I think you're mistaken. We know exactly what we are. And the suggestion that we are a gang is, well, yeah, it's not accurate. We're here to help people. And I appreciate not everybody likes the police, but yeah, sorry I can't help you. Chase says, never use compression fittings on brake lines. Lots of packages say specifically not for brake systems, not a safe repair. Okay, I am not a mechanic, so when it comes to that stuff, I can't give advice, but thank you, Chase, for weighing in. What are your guys' view on rust? Depends on how much rust you got. If you've got holes in your vehicle, if I can see the floor, we're looking at an unsafe vehicle. Can I straight pipe without cats? Not unless you got a classic vehicle that didn't have cats and didn't have muffler requirements, so early 70s. So Jacob says, my mother got a ticket for unintentionally parking in the zone that was different from what she entered on the Green P app. Well, Aaron's back. I can ask this question and bug Aaron. So the question, Aaron, is if you buy a ticket for one area, but then you park in the other, or you buy from the wrong machine, or you punch in the wrong number, what happened? That's brand new ones. You got to plug those in, but bring them in because they're nice, they're fancy. They're tight. They're snug because they're new. Okay, we're going to give you the orange one, and we're going to give you some microphone.
So yes, if you've paid for the wrong location ID, then yes, you can get a ticket because technically you're not paid for that proper area. So it is the responsibility of a driver to input all that information correctly. I do come across it quite often where I see someone's paid, but it's not for the street that they are on. And unfortunately, yeah, like I can't just, put a blind eye to that and be like, oh, sorry, like I know you paid, but you could have been on that street earlier. How do I know, right?
Right. It's based on time, and I guess if you pay at one, you just drive around the city during that period of time. It makes life difficult because you haven't paid for parking there.
So in other terms, it's the receipts are non-transferable to other payment locations. It says that actually right on the paper receipts as well when you get one, that they are non-transferable.
Well, there you go. To those who do not know who the voice is on, off camera, that's Erin Urquhart. She's a parking enforcement officer with the Toronto Police Service. Happens to also be a media relations officer for the Toronto Police, and my partner here in the office. Now you can follow her at TPS_bikehart as well as parking TPS.
Yeah.
Are tinted taillights and headlights illegal? Headlights, absolutely illegal. Taillights, if you talk to Sergeant Campbell, he will say absolutely illegal. I will say absolutely stupid because you are reducing one's ability to see your braking, which kind of prevents people from driving into you. But the rules say 150 meters of discernibility. You have to be able to be seen and be able to clearly see the difference between braking and non-braking. If they're not discernible at 150 meters, they're illegal. So I stick with Sergeant Campbell's thing. He hates tinted taillights, so expect to get a ticket from him. I think he will hunt you down. Somebody's really big on making accounts today. They've made like 3 or 4 accounts to be Sean Shapiro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a bad day for them.
Oh, yeah.
On the TikTok, mind you, they could be doing it on a computer. I don't know.
Just like, why though?
Steven says, good. Well, I think he keeps talking about specific things, and I think he's obsessed with me. A lot of people who say they don't like me really like me a lot.
Oh, I know. It's like they're hate obsessed. They have a hate crush.
It's good. It helps the algorithm.
Yeah.
Okay. what info can you see when you run our plates? The answer is whatever info is available. So we'll see registered owner, name, address, associated driver's license, other vehicle acts. Like we can start deep diving because it's a trail of breadcrumbs. If you have interactions with the police, like a record, we'll see that. If it's the registered owner anyway. So we can see any warnings, tickets, interactions that are recorded if it was our system or from any police service that's on the same system. So we can see a whole bunch of stuff. At the end of the day, don't break the law, and there'll be nothing to find except your RIN, your registered information. My MySpace account. Yes. Oh, I had a MySpace account. I had a plan years ago for MySpace. I was going to go and help those who had really awful looking MySpace accounts. I wanted to do MySpace makeovers.
Oh my gosh, I had a MySpace too. That was, well, actually, but even before MySpace, there was other social media platforms.
Like what?
I don't know if
AOL Online?
Actually, that was probably the first thing I ever used for, internet. And then there was like stuff like Pixo.
Never heard of that one.
Pixo, friend pages, T.Wire was a really big one when I was in high school. Yeah.
Never heard of it.
I don't have the chat open. I would love to see what people are saying. I'm going to grab my phone.
Someone says, or Jacob says, Facebook. I was on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. That's later.
I used ICQ.
Oh, that's before my time for sure.
ICQ, but it was a chat. It was a chat messenger.
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't around for ICQ.
All right. Friendster. Ryan Pinn says Friendster. That sounds familiar, but I can't visualize Friendster. I was on, what was it called? It was called eWorld. That was on par with AOL Online. It was the Macintosh version. Okay, we have some people who are big fans of Drake. I don't know why, but they are.
I don't know what. I have to get on the Wi-Fi. My new phone, the service in here is worse than my other phone.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. We've both got new iPhones.
I can't even look up I can't even put on the live. Like, I can't even watch it.
Really?
Unless I put on the Wi-Fi.
I know not why. Are pops from an exhaust system legal? Pops, like when you have unspent fuel because you've changed the settings in your vehicle to leave fuel so it can then later pop? Depends. Some vehicles are coming like that from factory. When you're doing it unnecessarily, you may find yourself seeing, interesting tickets come by because some people are doing crazy things and they're igniting the fuel that's unspent. Minor pops really isn't an issue. If it's ridiculous, you could be unnecessary noise. You could be looking at environmental protection stuff for the unspent fuel being spilled. Everything after Degrassi is unknown to me. Yeah, when it comes to what's his name, Drake, I other than a TikTok where his bodyguard guy illegally directed traffic, I don't know much about Drake. My cousin knows him. That's it. Do I like rap music? I do. I don't like all rap music, but I don't.
I can't see you jamming out to rap for some reason.
I used to DJ. I DJ'd.
Oh, right. That's right.
And because of that, I listen to all sorts of stuff that you'd never expect me to listen to. But I don't listen to it actively. I don't really have time for music. I do listen to a lot of podcasts, but there's no rap in the podcasts I listen to. Unregistered plate on front windshield illegal. Yeah, you can only have the plates that are registered to your vehicle on display. And you wouldn't and shouldn't want anything in your front windshield because it becomes a projectile in the event of a collision. Can I put unregistered plate in display? Sorry, can I put unregistered plate for display in parking? Well, are you trying to confuse the identity of your vehicle? Because that's probably what you're going to get charged for. If you're putting in plates that aren't matching the vehicle, you may find a bad day at the office, like because your car might go away, like to be impounded or towed or whatnot. Can't put fake plates or unregistered plates in your vehicle. Can I get a speeding ticket on an e-bike or bike? Bicycle, no. E-bike that qualifies as a bicycle, no. If the e-bike goes more than 32 kilometers an hour, yeah, it's a motor vehicle. It's no longer protected as an e-bike, and you can be charged for speeding because it's a motor vehicle now. In addition to the charge of speeding, you can be charged for, drive vehicle no insurance, drive no license plate, whole bunch of stuff. So, yeah, e-bikes, are an interesting machine because they fall under different areas based on their use and their design. Can I get pulled over by MTO? I'm not a commercial motor vehicle. Yes, you can. MTO has authority to pull people over. Jacob says, instead of playing the outro of the traffic song, can you sing it for us? Hard no. What's the best way to become a police officer? Apply. Obviously, there's testing involved, but if you don't apply, you'll never, ever become a police officer. Why can I drive with a ski mask and not tint? Because the ski mask to warm your face isn't regulated, but your car is. There's no law that says you can't put a ski mask in, but there is a law that says you can't put tint on your windshield or heavy tint. And you can have tint as long as we can see inside the vehicle. We need to see that you're not texting and driving using your cell phone. We need to see that you're wearing your seatbelt, that you're not consuming alcohol, that you are, in fact, in some way describable, even if it means that you're wearing a ski mask. We need to be able to see that. But to say that we can't see inside the vehicle at all, that would be bad. That would be specifically breaking the rules that state that you cannot obscure the interior of your motor vehicle. It doesn't mean you can't obscure your face with your mask. What is this? Ryan says, because I can still see you on your phone when your face is covered. This is right. Are wide wheels on trucks illegal? Depends what you mean by wide wheels. They have to be covered by fenders and or mud flaps because that would be illegal if they weren't.
Excuse me.
Legality of gel blasters. Like, are you talking about 80s hairstyles? What are we talking about? Is there something? Is this like a gun that shoots gel? You have to be a little more specific. Do you have donuts during your coffee break? Currently drinking tea. Although I've been known to consume donuts on occasion, no donuts here. Maximum sound decibel for exhaust. Well, my understanding is 74 decibels is what the legal requirements are. You must be below that. For motorcycles, the city says nothing more than 92 decibel at idle. But truthfully, to lay the charge for unnecessary noise, it's not based on decibels. Do you know Sergeant Schmidt from Toronto OPP? I saw him yesterday. Yes, I do know him. Paul Toronto says, is covered power assist bicycle legal in Ontario? What is a covered power assist bicycle? You have to be more specific, Paul. I need to know what you're talking about. What is this? Oh. My wife says, please don't make him sing. All right. Is college a good way to become a cop? Yeah. Any education is a good way to become a cop. Truth is, grade 12 education is the minimum, and we are taking applicants now. If you are qualified or pass all the testing, academic and physical and so on, apply. If you can't, spend time on improving your education so that you can continue to compete. Let's see here. Yeah, a lot of people having fun today. Can you explain what happened on the Kingsway in Surrey, BC? I saw the video. I don't know what happened. Looked like a tactical team doing a gunpoint arrest, but I don't know the ins and outs of that because I just saw a TikTok video. What is this? Underglow. Which fictional character do you relate to the most? I really do like Hellboy, only because he's the same height as I am. And Ron Perlman's an awesome, like the original one, Ron Perlman is awesome. But do I really relate? I don't have a horn or tails, or tail, horns or tails. Like the plurals got mixed up. And I'm white and sometimes reddish when I get sunburned. Yeah. But otherwise, I just like the character. E-bikes and trails. Someone in my town recently was hit. Listen, it's been determined that if they are pedelec being pedal electric with their assist, they can be used, but you can't use electric power solely in parks in the city. I don't think they should be used anywhere. Suspect says, thanks for responding. You're very welcome. Is underglow legal? If the bulbs are visible, then no. You're going to be projecting light outwards. It can only go down across the ground, and then, what do you call it? Bounce light from the ground, reflect light. Yeah, no, no front plate wasn't me. Going 140, please. I'm like a grandpa. I drive slow. What's the deal with license plate stickers? Well, for vehicles under 3,000 kilos, for the most part, are no longer requiring stickers. You renew online, and no sticker will be mailed. My wife says he drives the speed limit, I can assure you. Yeah, I'm not interested in going faster. A power assist bicycle that has a body like a small car. That's what a covered, that's not a, oh yeah, I'd have to look more into that, but it can't be more than 120 kilos to qualify as an e-bike. If it has a small car body, it's over 120 kilos, I'm going to assume, making it a motor vehicle, not a power-assisted bicycle. Let's see here. OG Jetstream says, who do I contact to get this man a raise? I'm doing okay, but I appreciate it. Talk to the chief, really, if you want to give me a raise. If it were only possible, it's not. Okay. Can city police pull you over on the highway? Absolutely, we can. Anywhere in the province of Ontario. Because we're municipal police, but we're sworn in the province of Ontario. Why do police officers dislike the car community? We don't. We dislike people who, actually, we don't even dislike the people. We dislike or focus on people who break the laws, and then we actually give them tickets because they're breaking the laws. We look for violators. It's not about who you are and what you like and what your interests are. It's whether or not you broke a law. Don't break a law, you don't get a ticket. It's got nothing to do with you personally. It's about the fact that you've chosen to break the law and make the road as unsafe for other people. This user, I'm assuming American, wants to know if they can bring their gun to Canada. No, I'm going to assume no. You used to be able to transport firearms for the purposes of competition. So if I was going to the United States, I could bring my gun to compete at a range there, and vice versa. But there are different rules in play now, and I don't know if that's still going to be the case. Obviously, legal guns. Block heater is mandatory in Ontario? No, it's not. I have one. I rarely plug it in. Certain areas might require it, but to actually start your vehicle. But is it a requirement under law? No. I got a careless charge for broken axle. I don't know. I would have taken your vehicle out of service for unsafe vehicle. I don't know if that charge applies to broken axle. What's this? All right. Do cops have a monthly ticket quota? No. We're allowed to write as many as we want. I write as many as I can. Well, when I was on the road anyway. How do you balance your work and personal life? I used to have a problem with that. I used to be on TikTok 24/7 answering questions, and now I just put the phone down. I look at it occasionally, but I've really backed off because there's just not enough hours in the day, and my family needs to see me and not me staring at a phone. Hey, if you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I answer traffic and police questions Monday to Friday for an hour a day. I'll be doing it right now for an hour and 13 minutes, so we've gone long. Joining me off camera but on mic is Erin Urquhart. She is a parking enforcement officer and media relations officer. And if you got parking questions, you got a few minutes until we shut down the live, and you could ask them now. Or now. Or now.
Yes. That's what I'm here for.
Can you be towed for a windshield tint? You can lose your license plates, which would require you to be towed, yes. It's unsafe to have windshield tint, thus you lose your license plate until you get it safetied, and then you could reapply for your tint. I've seen people pull their windshield tints off to avoid having a tow truck hook them up because there's no other way to get your vehicle home. If many are speeding, how do you choose who to pull over? Who is the lucky one? I would pull them all over if I could. Generally speaking, it's the person in front. Could be the person behind. Could be the person you point at. It really depends on the officer's observations.
Someone's like, where can I park to get a ticket from Aaron? It's funny. I've actually started getting people to start messaging me on social media platforms when over the weekend I worked and someone messaged me like, I got a ticket from you. I'm going to frame it. I was like, oh my goodness.
Jace mentioned EPA is losing its hold on laws. I believe that's been passed in the United States, but it's not something here yet that I'm aware of anyway. As long as the laws are on the books, they're on the books. If they cease to be on the books, they won't be on the books no more. Okay, why is Canada so strict? Why are other countries not? I think we're not strict enough. Do they still seize license plates for stunt driving? We seize the whole car. We don't stop at the plates. We take the whole car. 14-day impound. So why does it take only 6 months to become a cop? Process can take much longer than that. 6 months is the training period, and then you start 10 weeks of coaching, and it's a continuous process for your entire career. Just getting in the front door doesn't mean you're ready to do everything. Why was I charged when it failed for a failed part? Oh, you're responsible for maintaining your vehicle in good working order. There's probably a better charge for it than careless, though. But you are responsible. If your car falls apart and it's unsafe, you're still responsible. It's not a failed part; it's a failed vehicle. And you might be able to, if it's a brand new car and it fails, and it's through no fault of your own, not a maintenance issue, you might have a defense. But if you have a piece of junk on the road and it failed, it's because it's a piece of junk on the road and you're responsible. It depends. If it's rust, if it's maintenance, then it's on you. Seeing Segway type scooters on the road, is it legal? No, Segways are not permitted on the road. Two-wheel scooters not permitted on the road. One-wheel, what are they called? The electric, what do they call those things? What's a one-wheel bicycle called? Unicycle. Those are illegal. They're all illegal. Okay. My car door random checked by unknown man. What? Someone looked at you. I was thinking body checked. Someone looked inside they were probably looking to steal your car. Is first aid part of your training? Yes, it is. It's required to apply, and it is something we continuously update. Is it true police can't follow you onto the highway? No. If we see a crime or a reason to pull you over, we can follow you anywhere. We can even follow you out of our jurisdiction because we initiated in our jurisdiction. And I mean jurisdiction being like in the province of Ontario, technically. But because if the offense occurred here, we wouldn't get to Florida following you, mind you. Reported car stolen. How long till I get the car back? Now, is the car being retrieved? Because it could be on a plane or on a ship going somewhere else, and you may never see your car again. Just because you report it stolen doesn't mean it gets located. It means a report gets put in that it was stolen. Can you still become a police officer if you have diabetes? It depends if the doctor will sign off on you, but chances are, based on how many people I know that are diabetics and are police officers, that you could be. What do you do for entertainment when run radar? When I'm running radar, I'm actively watching the vehicles. There's no entertainment. It's working. You can't play video games while you're doing radar. You'd never see anybody go by. Be busy. It takes focus. Cordrell wants to know, how old am I? How old do I look? I don't know if it's so. You know what? I have white in my beard. Does that not make me old? I would say I'm old. Tips on becoming a police officer. You know what? There's so many different areas to deal with. You have to be good at all these things: academic, physical. Just make sure you continuously improve yourself in every way, shape, and form. Education, volunteering, everything. And suddenly interference. Oh, that might
Might have been me.
Might have been you. So yeah, volunteering. There's just so many things to keep up on. Make sure you have a clean driving record is huge. We have here. Jay says, I don't look a day over 29. You are too kind, and you need to get I got new glasses. You need glasses too. Over 29. Do you use automatic license plate readers? They're coming to the province. We have some, but we need more. Okay. Jonah says thank you. And what are we talking about here? We talked about that. What's the new stunt driving law? Like new like a year ago? It means stunt driving can occur on private or public property. It means that when you get charged with stunt driving, which includes a whole bunch of things, you lose your car for 14 days, you lose your license for 30, and there's a whole bunch of things that happen afterwards. If you're convicted, you can get 1 to 3 year conviction on your first conviction, $2,000 to $10,000 in fines, and up to 6 months in jail. Additionally, because it's now private property as well, and means you can't do anything on private property ever, nothing. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things, but speeding 40 kilometers over in an area that has a speed limit under 80 is also now stunt driving. So that was one of the other additions. Hopefully that covers it for you. Okay. I think we've had enough. I say that because we've gone 21 minutes over, and I got other stuff to do. There's important stuff that is waiting for me, and that means I have to say goodbye until we're back tomorrow, 9:30, because we're joining Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. We'll be here at 9:30 to talk about stuff and things with him and his audience, along with questions that come from you. We will be doing it for an hour and a half tomorrow because, well, that's just how we roll. It's just what we do. Yeah, we'll be talking to him, and then we will go straight into our regular Q&A at 10 o'clock till 11 o'clock. So total of an hour and a half, but really part of it's on the radio. So tune in. You can even call in to him and talk to us on the phone. I'll have all the questions. I'll have all the telephone numbers on screen when we do that. Okay, I'm looking for any major, amazing, super creative questions. Can I have body parts of my car that make it wider? You can, as long as it doesn't go beyond the maximum width permissible on the road. So long from Ryan Pinn, who says, have a good Veterans Week. And, oh yeah, we'll have a special episode on Friday, I guess. Mr. Beast fan. I got excited for a second. I thought it was Mr. Beast.
Could you imagine? Wow.
It's illegal. Is it illegal for people to use my driveway? Can they pull into it? It's not something we would charge somebody for trespassing for if they just came out to the front of your driveway, because actually that's city parking or city property. They can't block it, but they could move onto it and off of it. Someone to pull onto your driveway to park on it, though, they could be ticketed and towed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are yellow tinted headlights legal in Ontario? You can actually have yellow or white headlights in Ontario. Those are the only two colors of projector bulb you're permitted to have. What does it take to become a homicide detective? You would need to be a police officer first, and you have to apply for a spot in the homicide squad. And a detective just means a sergeant within the homicide squad. Detective means a sergeant in a criminal investigation bureau setting. If you were a police constable like myself working in the homicide squad, I'd be a detective constable. What do we got here? Check out www.tps.ca for all the information you ever wanted to know and more about becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. We are actively hiring, so go take advantage of that. Go apply. Find out what you need to apply, get it done, and come apply. All right, with that, traffic song.
Green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.